Hey guys, welcome to the Iowa Entrepreneur. This is Raul Espinoza, and today my guest is Gabrielle Krieger Ballard, owner of Passion Studios. Welcome, Gabi.
Thank you, Raul. Glad to be here.
So you're Ballard now, so congratulations for recently getting married.
Thank you. Starting the year right.
Yeah, so when everyone reaches out to you, do they still just know you as Krieger?
Yeah, for
Still?
the most part.
Because it doesn't sound weird yet when people say Ballard.
My students were very surprised.
Really?
It was a 3-day engagement.
Awesome. Cool. So tell us a little bit about Gabi. Like, where are you from and what got you into Iowa, or are you born in Iowa? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I grew up in Ankeny. I was on Trilene
Nice.
when I was really little.
Okay.
Went to Ankeny Christian, went to Ankeny Public Schools for a while. I was also homeschooled, so I kind of had the whole roundabout.
Yeah.
And I played the piano since I was 6 years old. And it
Wow.
was something that my parents just made a priority for me.
Sure.
They said, this was important enough for us, for you to stick with it until you're 18. And then if you don't want to do it anymore, that's your decision. So it's kind of like school for most
Sure.
people.
Okay.
So it wasn't like an option for me, which
Gotcha.
I think was really beneficial, because then
Okay.
I could spend my energy on actually practicing and doing it rather
Yeah.
than fighting about it. So I did that until I was 18, and I discovered the Simply Music method when I was 15.
Awesome.
And I just knew that that was something that I always wanted to present to
Sure.
people, because it entailed everything that I didn't have in my piano curriculum.
Oh, awesome. So from early on, did they just know you were musically inclined, or it really was something they just wanted to
It was
do?
just a commitment.
Okay.
I mean, I think that there is a lot of research that has been shown when kids start music at a very young age,
Sure.
it increases their likelihood to stick with it longer.
Awesome.
But in addition to that, it can help them with like perfect pitch and their inclination towards rhythm if they're starting at a really early age. So I don't think it's so much like, oh, they really liked it or didn't like it. It's
Okay.
just, do I want this person to have music as a lifelong companion, you know?
Okay. Interesting. So then what brought you to uptown area, and for you to decide I'm going to start my own piano studio, or is it just a music studio? How would you categorize it?
Yeah, so I grew up in Uptown after my younger years
Okay.
on Trilene, and then we moved over here. And I told my dad that I wasn't going to college, and he was not happy about that.
Sure.
So he's like, you know what you should do? You should go to Costa Rica and see my family. Well, I found out later that that was his way to try to deter me from trying to
From
start
that,
my own
yeah.
business, because I had told
Oh.
him that I wanted to start it. And we laugh about it
Sure.
now. Like, we think it's really funny.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, yeah, that's a really good idea. So I took like all my stuff with me and used
Oh.
5 months to study and start my website and do SEO and like sitting on the beach, like
Nice.
programming, you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
And I came back and started looking for studio locations right away.
Wow.
And it was really weird because I had been back like 3 days, and my mom and me were both looking for rental spaces.
Locations.
And we both called each other at the same time and said, "Did you find the same place as me?"
Oh, wow.
Like
The
at
same place.
Yeah, at the same time on the same day. We found that spot.
So it was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
Awesome. And now I understand you expanded it a little bit, because was it smaller than it is now?
Yeah, so that 202 Southwest Cherry Street is like I call it the Winchester House of Ankeny. Like,
Nice.
they just kept building on and building on.
Yeah.
So there's a front suite, there's a side suite, there's a back suite. When I started, I was in the back room, and it was almost like
Okay.
this elongated washroom. It was super weird.
Oh, wow.
And so I used to have a curtain in front, so people would come in and wait in this lobby, but they'd like peek through the sheer curtain to look at the other lessons, and everyone's like, "What are you
That
doing?"
would throw me off. I'd be so self-conscious of like, stop.
Yeah,
Distracting.
like, please
Mhm.
hide behind the wall.
Mm.
So that we were in that space for like a year and a half, and then when the front space became available, I just told my landlord that I
Yeah.
was
a
interested
no-brainer.
in it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have 9 people on staff.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in Uptown in that business for now?
A little over 3.5 years.
That's big growth.
It is.
That's insane for
It
just a
is.
short amount of time. So, I mean, congratulations.
Thank you.
So now, whenever someone is interested in learning how to play piano,
Mhm.
what sets you apart from others?
Sure. So we teach a Simply Music method. We
Okay.
have 4 licensed or certified Simply Music instructors at
Okay.
the studio. So when we say Simply Music, it's a playing based approach to learning the piano. So in a traditional environment, which we were all successful at. We
Yeah.
don't have any issues with it at all.
Mhm.
I loved it.
Mhm.
But in that approach, you put the sheet music up on the keyboard and that dictates your ability to play the piano.
Sure.
So while you're learning that your fingers work separately from each other
Mhm.
and you have to become ambidextrous all of a sudden, you also simultaneously have to read up to 7 different languages on the page. Notes, rhythm, placement,
Sure.
dynamic. So with Simply Music, we teach you a context of playing first,
Okay.
30 to 50 songs in your first year
Wow.
with both hands. And then that serves as a context to be able to read later.
Okay.
So it's just like the way we learn how to talk. You talk for years before you learn how to read and write,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5. And so then you start with small words like cat,
Yeah.
box. Oh, I know what a box is.
It
So-
makes sense. So you build
yeah.
that foundation for them first.
Exactly.
Once they're comfortable, you move a step up after that.
Exactly. And it also gives them an experience of success and victory every single lesson. And it's
Cool.
not like, oh, this isn't arduous or tedious for me. I
Yeah.
can do this.
I've seen some of your students play, and it's really impressive at a young age what they can do, and they just get up there and they know what to do, how
Yeah,
to
they're
play.
comfortable with it.
Yeah.
They like to play for people. It's a time to share, and it's not about performance or anxiety. It's I want to share my gifts with people.
Yeah. And I remember I took piano when I was very little for like a week or two because I got tired. I didn't want to because they were forcing me to play. My parents were too. But anyways,
A
I
week.
didn't obey them very much, and wasn't disciplined in that way. But my teacher was wonderful. She did great. But yeah, she taught me how to read the music first while I'm also playing a little note after this. So it never sounded like music to me
Right.
because I would read the notes and play and just very slowly because I was really trying to keep my eyes on the sheet, not
Yes.
look down on the keys.
Exactly.
And I never learned a real song all the way through, I don't think. And that's why I told my parents I don't want to play anymore. I want to play, chopsticks or whatever the like songs that you hear all the time on the piano and like for release and all those crazy ones. Because that's what I thought when I was little. I was going to learn to start
Right.
playing crazy, awesome music.
Right.
And it wasn't the case. It was very slow, and for me, that wasn't right. I didn't like it.
I think another thing that sets us apart is not only do we have that 30 to 50 song base from the curriculum, but we also have popular songs that,
Cool.
that we integrate into the program right away. So accompaniment is a big part of the program of
Nice.
Simply Music. So it's basically a bunch of Lego blocks, and you can use those Lego blocks to build any song. So our
Awesome.
students are playing like Youngblood by 5 Seconds of Summer, or My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion, or, at a student request, Endless Love. Like, they can just sit down and play those songs. So there is a huge interest level.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they can learn that in just a matter of minutes, like 5
Sure.
minutes. We can
And that's
teach
just so
them
more
like that.
fulfilling because then you get that, I don't know, dopamine effect, I guess, or
Mhm.
you're just like, oh my gosh, I can actually play something.
Yeah.
And I'm recognizing the notes. And I already love that song. Now I love it even more because I can be a part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I really am intrigued by the way that you teach piano.
And we do have, I just want to add, like, it's so important for those parents to be committed to seeing that through too. Like, we just really stress that as much, you could have the best program in the world, and if
Sure.
you're not committed to seeing your child through the success,
Mhm.
then a week, 2 weeks, it's not
Sure.
enough to see you through that final result. So
Of course.
we love that our parents are just as committed to seeing their child's success as we are. So I think that really brings the dynamic of Passion Studios, makes it what it is.
Awesome.
Parents too.
So were your parents as supportive when you would, hit a certain goal when you were playing? Were they always supportive?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that they were committed to not only seeing me through my goals and my aspirations and what I wanted to accomplish and giving me the tools to get there, but also motivating me through the times when maybe I didn't feel like doing it. Because we always talk about, anything in life, you've got times when you feel awesome about it, times when you feel like mediocre about it, and times that you feel really
Yeah.
that's what
You don't feel good.
you just don't feel good. Like that's
Yeah.
school, that's your relationship with your spouse, that's your brothers and sisters, that's your friends. Like that's just how life is.
Yeah.
So we tell people like when they hit that first valley, they're inevitably going to.
Yeah.
You have to have a reason why you want them to be in that longer than that temporary moment, because that's going to really sustain them and pull them through that.
Well, and that's the same with entrepreneurship, kind of
It
what
is.
you're talking about. So when you hit those valleys, what is it that you do to, because we all do, it's being a business owner can be lonely and
It is.
stressful.
Mhm.
So what do you do to kind of get yourself up from that?
Yeah, I think I had to really do some like self-reflecting at the beginning, because when I first started, I was going so hard and long
Really?
and working such long hours that my dad would be like, you have to go to bed. And I'm like, if I keep doing this, I'm going to lose my identity.
Sure.
You know? So I think I really thought about the things that make me happy and the things that like lift me up. And every person's different like that. And it's not that happiness is like the only goal in life, but you do have to know what's going to kind of get your mind off of things. So I like to spend time with my family, my friends, going out, seeing things. So I just make sure that I don't overwork myself to the point that I can't go and do those things.
Sure.
That I enjoy, because why are we doing it in the first place?
Exactly. Yeah. And with all your new employees too, you kind of try and lift them up in the same way, because
Absolutely.
when you're absent, they're you basically.
Yes.
You're gone.
And they know too that like it's such a priority for them to have like your work and life should mesh together.
Sure.
And so they know that they have the choice on what hours they have and how they need to make that work. And they come into work feeling so much more uplifted too.
Of course. So do you believe in work-life balance when you're like within your first 5 years as an entrepreneur?
It's possible.
Yeah.
I don't think that people should be so committed to their own life balance that they are unwilling to see a result through at the first 2 years.
Yeah, I like that.
Like for instance, something that drives me crazy is I see a new business open and they have different hours than what their ideal client is.
Sure.
I'm like, you should know that client front and
makes sense.
backward. So like if you're open from 9 to 11 and they don't get off work till 5 and you're a retail, how are you gonna make that work?
I guess I've never really. I mean, I never really thought about that. Sometimes when people need to be, they complain about no one showing up, and maybe it's your hours, or maybe you got to step back and look at certain things that aren't
it's
working.
not so much about like you not able to achieve work-life balance. It's how do you achieve it within the structure of your ideal client.
Sure.
So
interesting.
Like my downtime is in the morning with my husband.
Yeah.
You know, we have breakfast together. That's our, instead of supper. And most people are like, oh, that's weird. Like I wouldn't be able to work nights. And I'm like, it's really not. It's not that hard, but that's because I still have that time. It's just at a different time, you know?
Yeah. It kind of flows. I think once no one will always, I mean, if people say they figured it out, they're lying. I feel like it just, over time you get accustomed to a certain way your schedule works, and you're happy that way.
Yeah.
But it's not the same for everybody.
That's so true. And you have to be willing to be uncomfortable, because uncomfortable is when you grow.
Yep.
And so if you have to change your schedule because the business needs it.
Yeah. That's kind of it's your baby. You gotta do what you gotta do.
What's your ultimate dream? What are you trying to pursue? If you're just trying to have a day-to-day job, then that's totally different.
Yeah. And then some people, I think, go into it thinking I'm gonna be my own boss, so I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And then they realize, why is my business not doing so well? Oh, well, because you don't put in the hours.
Right.
Either. So I mean, I don't know. Owning a business is weird.
It is super weird. And you do have to know your industry inside and out. And you have to be able to be honest with yourself about whether something's working or not. Like and that doesn't mean that you're a failure. It means that.
Yeah.
Sorry, a little gnat.
Yeah.
It just means that you just have to be honest with yourself.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
So, Gabi, you just started a new program in Passion Studios. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so it's called Music Rhapsody, and it's an early childhood music and movement program for ages birth through 5. Wow. So essentially, you're immersing your children in this musical atmosphere that uses aesthetic taste and kinesthetic approaches. They're doing drumming, they're dancing, they're singing,
cool.
they're learning pitch matching. So like I was telling you about the ability to get perfect pitch at a younger age.
Sure.
They're actually emulating what the instructor is doing, and they're learning songs that they'll later learn in the Simply Music curriculum. So in a lot of music and movement programs, there's a lot of new curricula that they're constantly introducing to the children. But if you think about the songs you learned when you were a kid, they're ones your grandma always sang to you, right? So there's a lot of repetition, but that really builds their neurological connectivity to the music program.
So would you say children with that under their belt early on can have an edge when they perform and learn various instruments?
Absolutely. It really, really sets them apart. I mean, not even instrumentation wise, just like neurologically and academically, sociologically, it just gives them such a great start to life.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, thanks. I just was curious. I've known you're trying to push that now, and it just started in your business. So.
Yeah. So we have classes in the mornings and early afternoons, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Okay.
And we're looking at possibly getting a bigger space for that.
So if I had the need to learn how to play piano, or my kids wanted to learn and they wanted to go find you, how would they go about that? Do you have a website? You want to, let us know what it is, the hours, location? I know you kind of a little bit earlier told us, what the address was, but.
So we're right off First Street. We're on Southwest Cherry.
Okay.
So kind of across from the band shell. It's a big blue Victorian house. We have free introductory sessions twice a month on Friday nights. They're about an hour, and it's just a great way to meet us, see the space. We talk about the method. We talk about how it works. We talk about what to expect, pricing, scheduling, all of that. Even though it's a simple concept, there's a lot that goes into it. So it's just the best way to get your questions answered. And so you can sign up for that on our website at passionstudiosmusic.com. /free intro session, but there's a navigation button at the top, and tickets are free, and we have limited space in everyone because our venue is not giant. So
of course. And you're on social media too. What's your handles for that?
Facebook is passionstudios_m.
Okay.
And then Instagram is passionstudios_music.
Awesome. Okay. And guys, that's in Ankeny, Iowa, by the way, if you're watching from another place in Iowa. One last thing, Gabi.
Wait, be sure it's not the Indian production company.
Is there one that's
an Indian production company called Passion Studios?
Yeah, you got to make sure it's the one, in Uptown, the big blue building.
Exactly. Yeah. Purple logo.
Awesome. Well, one more question I always ask everyone on the podcast, and that is what's the definition of an entrepreneur to you?
An entrepreneur is someone who has a vision and a dream big enough to want to make it a reality.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thanks for being on the show, Gabi.
Thanks, Raul.
Yeah.